It was a day of joy for the Agbajes as their first son Tomiwa brought home his fiance. It was a long wait for them as Tomiwa was single at 33. After much persuasions, he yielded to his mother's wish and brought home his fiancée, Bimbo by name. Bimbo is an elegant lady in her mid-twenties. Tomiwa's siblings, Doni and Shade, had taken their time to decorate the house. They got a delicacy ready to receive her. Mrs. Agbaje had supervised them to ensure all was in order. The ladies giggled as though they won a lottery. They loved their brother so much. He had been a father figure to them since their father died, and he was the first male in the family. Their father's people had seized their properties and left little or nothing for his immediate family. Tomiwa was the only graduate when his father died. Their mother had a chronic health issue that didn't allow her to do any hectic job. As a result, Tomiwa gladly assisted in the family's expenses. His family were so appreciative of this, as they would go to his house every weekend to cook what he would eat for the week, clean his house and put it in order. They shared such a wonderful bond. Duni was in her final year, while Shade was waiting for youth service. Shago had just finished youth service. They weren't anything huge yet, so Tomiwa continued to assist them. Tomiwa walked into the well-decorated living room, holding his woman by her hand. Bimbo was dressed in a gown, looking elegant and beaming with smile. Duni welcomed them gleefully and ran to call her mother. Tomiwa made his fiancée sit comfortably while he went in to do something. Bimbo brought out her phone and started pressing. Mrs. Agbaje, a petite woman who had a youthful look, came into the living room and greeted Bimbo. Bimbo looked up from her phone and replied "Hi" casually, continued pressing her phone. Mrs. Agbaje was freezed by the reaction. She wondered why the cold reception from her future daughter-in-law. While standing, deep in thoughts, Doni came in. "Mom, why aren't you sitting? This is our sister-in-law." Why the silence? She asked. Bimbo looked up from her phone. "Oh, that's Mom. I didn't know. Sorry about that." "Good day, ma'am. Hope you are good," Bimbo asked. Mrs. Agbaje, looking shocked, she asked, "But why did you greet me in such manner the other time?" "I am sorry, ma. I thought it was the maid," Bimbo said. "The maid is on a sick leave, and even if it was the maid, I still don't think you should have greeted anyone you met in a prospective in-law's house that casually." "What if?" said Mrs. Agbaje as he was interrupted by Tomiwa, who came back into the room, hugging his mother. "Good to see you again, mother. How have you been?" They settled, and the remaining part of the meeting went on smoothly. After they left, Mrs. Agbaje looked worried. Her daughters asked what was wrong. She narrated her experience to them. Her daughter waved it aside and told her it's one of those things. "Gen Zs are like that," said Shade. Mrs. Agbaje gave up on the matter and continued her activities for the day. Duni and Shade had collected Bimbo's number and they called her once a while to greet her, but she never reciprocated. They continued calling because she loved gisting whenever they called her, so they thought calling wasn't just her strength. Tomiwa loves Bimbo so much. It was love at first sight. He had helped her start a pharmacy when she was done with school and no job was coming forth. One day, while they were relaxing together, a call came in from Duni, which was to ask for money. Bimbo could hear Tomiwa's side of the conversation. When he was done with the call, she quizzed him. "Are your people aware you will be a family man soon and they will need to be their own breadwinner?" she asked. "Point of correction, Bimbo. I am not their breadwinner. I only support. They work, but their jobs don't pay much. I am even thinking of enrolling them in some lucrative tech skills so that they will be able to stand on their own," said Tomiwa. Bimbo talked him out of it by pointing his attention to the fact that they were planning a wedding, which would come with a lot of expenses. "Why don't you plan for that later?" she said. Tomiwa reasoned with her. Tomiwa continued his responsibility towards his family, and they continued their weekly visits of cooking for him. One day, Tomiwa called Bimbo to tell her that his mother was sick. A nurse was attending to her at home. Bimbo empathized with him on phone. Bimbo gave a smirk. The next week, Bimbo went to Mrs. Agbaje's house with some beverages. She refused to talk about her past sickness and why she couldn't reach out. Mrs. Agbaje, on the other hand, was happy at her gesture, so she overlooked her past faults. "She's a good woman," said Mrs. Agbaje to her daughters, while they were chatting in the living room at night. Dunni agreed, but Shade had her reservations. "There is something confusing about her character. I am yet to place my finger on it," she said. "Nobody is perfect," said Mrs. Agbaje. Some weeks later, Bimbo went to her fiance's house on a Saturday. She entered the kitchen and found it messy. Dunni was cooking for her brother as usual and quickly stepped out to buy something. "Who messed up this place?" she asked, despite seeing a pot of food on the cooker. Tomiwa came in. "Babe, my sister is cooking. She was here some minutes ago." "I think she stepped out," he said. "Is that why she should turn the kitchen upside down like a fool?" Dunni overheard the conversation as she came in. The couple pretended they weren't talking about her, but Dunni already got the message. She, however, pretended not to hear. Tomiwa lambasted Bimbo when they got into the room. They got married the next month. Tomiwa's sisters were very supportive, more supportive to Bimbo than even her sisters. They were the true representation of the bridesmaids on that day. After the wedding, Bimbo excluded them out of the list of people she called to appreciate, her excuse being that she gave them a lot of food and meat to last them a lifetime. The couple had their honeymoon and started their marital life. Dunni and Shade respected their brother's new status as they minimized their visits to him and how they requested for money. Not that they didn't have money needs though. Bimbo, on the other hand, didn't directly ask her husband not to give them money, but she choked him with so much bills that he couldn't spare anything to send to his family. Whenever he wanted to protest, Bimbo would burst into fake tears. Tomiwa's siblings had stopped calling the couple, and their visitations, which didn't bother the couple anyway because they had each other. Bimbo kept enjoying her husband's money. 9 months later, she had a baby. Tomiwa called his family. They congratulated him on phone, attended the christening ceremony, and that was it. No help, no visitations to ease the burden on Bimbo. Bimbo's siblings were in school in different cities. She was also an orphan. Bimbo was shocked that her sister-in-law could do that to her. She shared her concerns with her husband by telling him that his family didn't love her. Several weeks later, Tomiwa had an accident and was rushed to the hospital. He was in coma. His wife came heavily under pressure as she had to do the running up and down. At first, she made up her mind that she wouldn't call his family. She would bear it all alone. After a week of being in coma, she called them and told them what had happened. Mrs. Agbaje threatened that if anything happened to her son, she would be in trouble. "My son has been in this condition for a week and you are just calling me? Let nothing happen to him." His daughters looked at her maliciously as they sat by their brother. For the next 5 days, they would come, sit by his side without talking to Bimbo, who was there with her baby. Mirabel, her new sister-in-law, Shagu's newly wedded wife, came twice to the hospital. Mrs. Agbaje and daughters treated her like a queen. They ensured she was comfortable many times and even called to know if she had gotten home safely when she left. Bimbo grew jealous and remembered how she used to enjoy that love from them. That head in deep thought and asked herself, "These people used to love me. Where did I go wrong?" She went into a deep introspection and realized that even though there was never a confrontation with them, her heart showed she didn't want them around. She didn't accept the hand of friendship they extended, so they kept to themselves. She decided to correct that. She opened a book to keep herself busy. She saw a line which struck her. "Friendship is a gift. It thrives on reciprocity. People know when you don't want them around." That confirmed her resolution. She went to her in-laws and begged them. They hugged her.